I'm Chad. You're watching Squarebody Stuff. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We are going to be working on Squeaky again. It seems like that's all I get done is work on Squeaky. But hopefully we'll be getting all the little things tidied up and get him ready for the racetrack. We have a big event, at least a big event for me, myself, coming up April 27th. I haven't mentioned it a whole lot on my channel for some reason. We've been planning this thing for quite a while, and I don't know. Every time I make a video, it just slips my mind, and I forget to mention it. But Ryan Wing from Streetcar Chronicles and myself, along with a couple other guys, there's Dave Elmore with, I think, Elmo's Performance YouTube channel. We decided a few months ago that we're going to host a all-truck drag race event. It kind of started out as just us going to try to find a track kind of centrally located between us, because I'm in southern Missouri, they're in East Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth kind of area. So we're going to try to find a place and meet up, hang out, race our trucks, just play around. And then we decided to, invite a few other guys to make track run a little cheaper. Well, then it snowballed. Now we've got what is called the Tailgate Throwdown, April 27th at Newport Raceway in Newport, Arkansas. Now I've got a video I just put out just before this video that I done a little bit of a walk around of the track. It's about 3 hours away from me. My wife and I ran down there, got some video of the track. Scott Cooper, the owner of the track, really cool guy. So what's going to be going on is we've got several guys. We don't have any pre-registration, so we don't know how many trucks are going to be there, but we've got 5 classes. We've got mini street, full-size street, stick shift, 28-10-5, and the Outlaws. If you're interested in going to this event, if you just want to come and spectate, we can use all the spectators that we can get. It's going to be a pretty cool show. Yeah, getting excited, losing my train of thought. My mind's wandering off into the woods. If you want more information about this event, go to the Facebook group, the Tailgate Throwdown. We've also got an event page, or you can hit me up in the comments or private message me or somehow, or Ryan Wing with Streetcar Chronicles. Get a hold of either one of us. We're also looking for sponsors. If you want to sponsor the event or sponsor a certain class, Ryan is actually the one handling all the sponsorship, but if you can't figure out how to get a hold of him, get a hold of me, and I'll redirect you and play operator and redirect you to Ryan. So with all that said, I need to get this truck ready for the track. I need to make sure that it's going to pass tech, and I need to make sure it doesn't leak oil all over the track, because that oil pan that's in this thing, I have never got it to seal up. It leaves a puddle every time I drive it. Now, with the crankcase evacuation system I put on here about a month ago or a few weeks ago, that has helped some. And some of those drips are from the transmission, because when I done the work on the transmission a while back, playing around with it, I didn't get the top sealed in it very good, so it leaks a little bit of fluid out the top. That's not a big deal. I've got gaskets coming for that to seal the transmission back up real good. But this oil pan has leaked from day one. I've put different gaskets in it. I even went with a one-piece gasket. It is just not sealing. And I'm actually going to give my wife, Mrs. Squarebody, the credit for getting my brain working to get my issue figured out and how I'm going to address it. Now, I didn't really want to have to spend more money on another oil pan that could possibly leak the same way, because the oil pan, it's kind of a cheaper aftermarket, I think an 8-quart drag racing pan. It's got the baffle in the bottom, the trap door. But it's just the way it's shaped around the sealing surface, around the rear main and the front, it just never has sealed up good. So I was telling her my issue, and I said the last oil pan, or the stock oil pan that was on that motor, never leaked a drop. This engine didn't leak a drop, even though it was wore out. Then I rebuilt it, put all this money into it, and this is the leakiest motor I've ever built. And it's frustrating, because I've always prided myself, if prided is a word, I've always prided myself on the fact that when I build an engine and I seal it up, through the years, I've figured out how to get an engine sealed up that doesn't leak. The engine that's in my crew cab, that big block, it has been in there for I think 15 years now. It still doesn't leak. The engine that's in Cream Puff, I resealed it, cleaned it up about 4 years ago. It doesn't leak a drop. Now there's little seepies, you know, around the valve covers, but there's nothing that actually runs out. It's just that kind of a haze you get. But anyhow, this engine, this 339, has leaked from day one, and the only way I'm going to be able to figure out how to stop it, like I said, I was telling my wife about the issue. She goes, well, can't you just use the stock oil pan? And I said, well, I could, but it, you know, I want the baffle in there. I want the drag racing oil pan because it's a race truck. And then my brain clicked because I was explaining to her what the difference was. I said the aftermarket one is basically a stock style pan with the bottom cut off. And that's when my brain clicked. Like, I'll just take the stock pan, this guy, that's sealed to this engine, and cut the bottom off the aftermarket pan and put it on this pan, and hopefully that'll fix my problems. The only difference being is the front main, because I got a different timing cover on it. Hopefully it will seal to it okay, but my main issue is the rear main seal, which the rear main cap is the same cap that was on this block before. So it's the same block, same rear main cap, and same oil pan. So hopefully this will fix my leaky seal. And before we get started, got to do a quick merch plug. Go to my merchandise website, squarebodyststuff.shop, and pick you out some shirts, hats, stickers. We've even got some new stickers that I just put out because race truck. I'm not pointing, there it is. Okay, you can see where it's been leaking down the back. I don't think it's my rear main seal because the crankshaft doesn't look wet. It's just the oil pan seal. It's also leaking from the front. Let's check that out. Hopefully, I'm not sure if you could see that. I don't see any other leaks any further up. But yeah, we'll get this all figured out hopefully before too long. I'm tired of oil dripping everywhere. Alright, let's see how much of a mess I can make with this oil. Or if I even brought the right size wrench. Oh, looky there. Yeah, at least it's got oil in it. That's a plus. And a little tech tip for you, I guess. I've got a Scotch-Brite pad in my pan, and that kind of helps to keep the splash, because it's got the solid deal in it, and you let the oil drip in there and it'll run out and it'll splash everywhere. But that kind of keeps it from getting too out of hand. Let me get this oil filter off. Put that over in the corner. And I probably put the oil filter on too tight, like I normally do. Yeah. It wasn't too bad. Now while that's draining, we'll unhook the battery. Don't need this hooked up while we're going to be pulling the starter. Don't need sparks everywhere. Okay. Now we get back under there and put the drain plug back in. Once it gets done draining, get the starter out, then we'll pull the paint. By show of hands, how many of you guys are like me and know you need to get something done and just really not into it, just really not feeling it? That's just kind of my feeling right now. Just thought I'd share that with you. Not that it's a hard job, just I don't feel like doing it right now. But we must soldier on. Okay, we got all the bolts loose. Okay, gonna take the motor mounts loose. Raise the front of the engine up. Okay. I guess if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Well, you want to make sure you got enough room with your distributor and everything else. You're not mashing anything. If you're going to do this, I should have plenty of room. Except for my headers hitting the... my header's hitting the vacuum booster over here. If you guys aren't using these copper gaskets for your headers, you need to be. They seal really good and they stay sealed and they're reusable when you have to take your headers off all the time. Let's see what else might be in our way. Hopefully nothing. I think that might be enough. We'll see. Yay! It came out. All right, I got it out. Let's take a gander at the differences. Now, obviously this has got to come out of this one. And this has got the baffle in it, which is part of this part of the sump. Now I have to just cut it out. take our measurement for the depth. That way we get the same depth and hopefully get it where it'll seal up. You see the profile of this corner, profile of these corners are a little bit different, but this is the main spot where it was leaking. It was also leaking up here. Yeah, these have been over tightened because I was just trying to get the stupid thing to seal up and get frustrated, but no, we'll get this figured out, get this pan cleaned up, start cutting away at it.
Got it all welded up. If you've seen the time lapse, yeah, I made like probably a 4-inch weld, and I ran out of gas on the TIG welder. So, and they use 2 different gases. I use argon for it. This is 75-25 carbon dioxide and argon. And that doesn't work real well with TIG welding, so I can't just swap bottles. I thought about trying it, but then again I thought, I'm just gonna, it just doesn't make a really pretty weld. It's just not right. So I just fired up the MIG, squirted some wire on there, and got it all sealed up. Some spots look better than others, but you know what, if you're underneath Squeaky and judging my welds, go for it. I don't care. Main thing is this part's not going to leak, and hopefully we don't have any more leaks. That's the main goal. Let me show you some of my booger welds here. This is the section right to about here where I got the TIG weld, which it was doing okay. It was doing better than it has, but I think that's been part of my problem is I was running out of gas. But that actually ran pretty good. Still not the best, not as good as some people. This wasn't the best. This is my first go with the wire feed. I needed to turn it down. In my wire feed welder, it won't turn down real low. So I gotta be careful with this thin stuff. I really need some thinner wire. I think I got 35. I need some 030 wire for it to do thin stuff, but it done okay. Not too bad. There's a couple spots. Most of this grinding was just trying to get the spatter off there. I'm not sure if it's the wire or what's going on, why this has so much spatter. I mean, the wire speed's about the way it needs to be. This looks a little funky because I kind of done it downhill. This one looks pretty good over here. Yeah, I did blow through in one spot that I had to clean up inside. Not too bad. I've looked around, tried to get any BBs and stuff out of the sump that I could. And as you can see, the MIG welder done a real good job of penetrating. These corners where I TIG welded those corners up looks kind of rough. I'm not going to worry about it. I think it's going to seal up and do oil pan things. That's all I need this to do. So I'm going to get this cleaned up, wipe it down, and prime it, paint it, let it dry overnight, and then we'll resume in the morning getting this thing back in squeaky with a fresh oil pan gasket, one piece, and hopefully we don't have any more leaks. It's ready. It's a lot brighter red than the last time. I like it. I was looking for some sparkly red to kind of match the valve covers because it's kind of a metallic-y pearl blue. But all I could find was just this cherry red. I like it. And the pan rails, this pan also has the pan rail stiffeners. That'll help seal everything up. Like I said, this part of the pan that was on the 305 originally, it's an OEM pan. It sealed up good, never had any problems with it leaking. So hopefully that'll still be the case. The only thing different, the rear main the rear main cap is the same rear main cap. The block is the same. So that was all the same with this pan. So that should seal up. The only difference is the front, I do have an aluminum timing chain cover, but I don't think that's going to cause any issues. This has got a really thick, nice chunk of rubber up front to help seal that up. I think the main issue I was having with the other pan was these corners. The way the pan was formed, it just had a weird radius and it just wouldn't quite seal up. And then around the dipstick kick out, the holes were off. I mean, the holes were just kind of off on that pan, and it just wouldn't seal. So we got this new gasket. I'll put the part number up. I already threw the box away, but I'll put the part number up for this one-piece pan seal. Yeah, and this kit also comes with these fancy clips that you thread into the corners, and it'll hold your gasket up where you need it, and hold your pan up while you get your other bolts started. It comes with your lock washers for both sizes, because your corners are 5/16, and the regular pan bolts, the rest of the pan bolts are like 1/4 inch. Yeah. So it comes with all the bolts, all the hardware you need for it. Pretty good kit. And I'll be using some ultra black RTV in the corners. All 4 corners. I put a little bit of that, and also put a little bit around this around the kick out for this gasket, because this gasket is universal. It will fit left and right hand dipsticks. This one is a right hand dipstick, passenger side dipstick. It's an 80, I think an 85 block. So I'll put a little bit around there just to make sure it'll seal up good. It's gonna be kind of hard to get the camera angles underneath the truck, but I'll do the best I can with that. And today, I'm not sure if I'll be filming by the time it happens, but today is April 8th. It's the eclipse. Not sure if anybody cares about that, but maybe if I'm still filming, or maybe I'll just put a clip of it at the end of the eclipse. We're in southern Missouri, south central Missouri, so we're right on the edge of the complete blackout, or whatever they're calling it. So total coverage, I guess they could say. So maybe we can get a deal of that. I've got both my welding hoods all cleaned up where we get a good view of it. So we don't have any of the special glasses. I just got welding hoods. Maybe we'll get a clip of that. All right, everything's all cleaned up. I've got these guys in here. They just thread into the corners. And I don't know if you can see up in there, I've got just a little dab of RTV in all four corners. Up in there. And these things are nice because you can just slip your gasket up over that and it'll hold it up in place while you get your pan up in there and start your other bolts. And I also had to move my dipstick tube. I had to move it up out of the way to get the pan on, or the pan gasket off. And I know you guys can't see a whole lot because there's just not a whole lot of place to put my camera under here. Get that guy around there. Take that started. Okay. Coming in hot. Let's see. Get my pretty paint all dirty. Bam. Okay. I wonder if there's enough room for these rails on them blue daily boppers. Yeah. Okay. Go start a bolt back here. Now once you get all your perimeter bolts good and started, kind of snugged up, you don't get them super tight, make it hard to get these out. You just take a screwdriver and it's got a little slot in there and get these corners pulled out. And for the corners, instead of using bolts, which I forgot to say anything about it, with these the rail stiffeners I've got, the bolts that came with the kit weren't quite long enough, so I got some longer bolts to put in there. But for the corners, I got some studs. And that makes it easier on down the road. If I pull the pan off, I'll have the studs there. I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but the studs have the inverted Torx or star head, and I've got this. I went ahead and bought the special sockets because I keep running into stuff like this. Nice cheap investment to get the sockets for those, so you don't have to worry about chewing them up with pliers or what have you. I'll get the studs into the corners. Got all the bolts tightened up. Just remember when you're doing this, just kind of work your way evenly from one side to the other down the pan. You don't want to over tighten one side or the other too tight, but these pan rail stiffeners really help. And these one-piece gaskets, they've got a steel insert at the bolt holes to where you can't over tighten them. I mean, you can over tighten them, I guess, but with this setup, should be about all I could do to prevent all the leaks. I don't know what else I could do, but we got the oil filter on. All my bolts are tight. I'm gonna lower the engine back down, get my motor mount bolts back in, get that done, and we got a starter to put in. But I'm gonna change things up with the starter situation. Now that big heavy stator type starter is plenty fine for this engine. It don't have a real high compression, but I've got one of the GM, well, it's not a GM, I don't remember what brand it is, but it's for a 96 Vortec. It's the permanent magnet gear drive starter. It's on cream puff. Yeah, I think I'm going to switch them out because it's a lot smaller, a lot lighter, and we're going to try to, that'll be that much more weight savings. Yeah, because race truck. All right, I'm gonna see if I can get this with my GoPro. I'm not sure if it's gonna get anything out of this eclipse. I've got my camera out. I've been getting some video with it and some pictures. Well, let's see what's going on. See if the GoPro will pick it up. I'll put a lens over it. It's probably just too far away. GoPro's not very good for this kind of stuff. I could probably change some settings or something like that on it, but my camera's doing a little bit better, so I'll just put some footage from it, if you guys are interested. If not, fast forward. I don't know, the camera's probably not picking up, but it's like the light is just weird right now, the way it's getting dark. And it's about, what time is it? About almost 2? Almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's like trying to get dark. It's weird. Got a little bit before it's completely over the sun. On the news this morning, they said that at the total eclipse, you might be able to see some other planets or something. I don't know. It's like steadily getting darker and darker, and I don't know, it feels like my eyes are funky. Yeah, this is getting really weird. Yeah, this is about the best I can do of the eclipse. Got a welding lens over my phone. It's almost completely done. I got the starter out of old cream puff, and there's a big size difference. I forgot how small the things really were. Now, I'm not sure, you know, how big of an engine or how much compression this thing will actually work on. None of my stuff's really that high compression, but it's a permanent magnet gear reduction starter, so it should help if you've got a higher compression engine. It's probably a cheaper alternative to some of the other aftermarket ones. They fit a lot better from my experience, and you can, if you get it from your local parts store, this is just for, I think this one I ordered for 96 Vortec 350, and it's, if you have a warranty on it, if you have any issues, you can just take it right back, and instead of worrying about trying to get with Summit or through the mail order or something like that. So these are a good alternative. There's a couple things you'll need to do to be able to use this. You will have to get different bolts. The bolts for the older, the big one, are a little bit longer. So, and the register's in a little bit different spot. So, I mean, I guess you could cut the older ones down, but you're better off just get new bolts that are for this. I didn't know that when I ordered this starter and I started to put it in, and then realized that, hey, these won't work. Now another thing you'll have to change, or at least I had to with my experience, is the lug on this starter for your switch wire is a little bit bigger, and the factory eye wouldn't fit over it, so I had to put a different end on that wire. Not a big deal. You can drill the eye out if you want to, whatever, but that's the other thing I had to change. But so far I've had really good luck with it in cream puff. It's been in there for I think at least 3 years, roughly, maybe 4. I don't really remember when I put it in there. It's got some age on. I mean, it's a little dirty, but Squeaky ain't gonna care. But let's get this thing in Squeaky. I've still yet got to put the driver's side header back on, put oil in it. Can't forget to put oil in it, and then it'll be ready to drop down and fire up and see if we got any leaks. I almost forgot to show you the weight difference. It's a lot more than I thought it was. Now the old school big starter is 18.6. Let's weigh this little one. 8.2. So that's like 1.5 pounds, or 10.5 pounds. That's pretty considerable weight savings if you're going for that. I know they're a lot easier to install because, you know, you lift it up there with one arm and try to get your bolt started. It's a whole lot easier, but I didn't think there was 10 pounds difference. So yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, we got the starter back in, we got the header bolted back up, I got oil in it, got the battery connected. I think we're ready to start it up. I'm gonna leave it up on jack stands for right now and get under there and check it out while it's running. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna take it for an actual test drive or not. We might. Let's get this thing fired up and see what kind of leaks we might have, or hopefully we have none. That's what I'm hoping for. Okay. Why is it not starting? See anything so far. Uh-oh. 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 the stiffener, the rail stiffener, has got that corner cut out of it. I'm afraid it's not allowing it to get enough pressure on it. I might put a longer bolt and a washer and see if I can get that to seal up. Dadgummit. It's actually leaking worse now from this one spot than it ever has. Alright, well, what I've come up with is I took my fat fingers to work here. It's a really thick washer, and I cut it down to fit, to take up the space that thing doesn't have. Yeah, you know what I mean. Gonna put this in there, probably put some RTV up in there, put a bolt in there, tighten it down. I'll probably use one of these heavy washers and a longer bolt. Hopefully I don't snap the bolt off. I'm gonna try to tighten it up as much as I can, but maybe this will fix it. Let's cross our fingers. And at this point, I really don't care if it's pretty. I just want it to not leak. So I got a longer bolt, little spacer deal, heavy washer, and an actual split lock washer instead of those star things. Okay, I nearly don't know what my camera angle looks like. And I gotta remember, these are only 1/4 inch bolts, grade 5. I can't put a whole lot of torques on them. Alright, I hope you guys could see that. Yeah. Anyhow, that's what it is. And I'm gonna let that RTV set up, and then we'll start it up again. I hope this fixes it. Alright, I think I'm gonna call it a win. I started up, let it run for about 10 minutes or so. It's up to temperature. I mean, it's not hot or anything like that. The oil temperature's still a little bit low, but there's no leaks around that bolt anymore. Now, I don't really want to drive it for another day or so to really let that RTV set up, and that, well, even the RTV are on the corners of the pan. I want to let that set up real good. Usually you need to really let it set up about 24 hours to get full effect of it, so it's fully cured out. But so far, no more leaks on the oil pan. I'm hoping this gets this figured out and gets this solved, because that's, I mean, that's just a huge pain in the butt for me. But anyhow, hopefully that works. Now we've got some stuff still we got to do to the truck to get ready for Tailgate Throwdown. I've got some fuel line stuff I need to do, because I've still got rubber fuel line from the tank to the hard line on the original part of the hard line on the frame. I've got some AN fittings with compression fittings on it, so I can run AN line from there to there. I've also got me some brand new Hoosiers. Got me some 2810.5 CO7 compound. Done some research, and these are about the best I could come up with for the price, because, you know, I'm not YouTube rich yet. I really like these the QuickTime Pros that I had. They're 291150s, and they work really good on the truck. Didn't have any issues with them, but they're about $80 a piece higher than these guys. So I decided to go ahead and get these 2810.5 CO7s and see how they work with the truck. I think they're going to work out real good. And, you know, not that my truck is super fast or anything like that. It's not competitive. But if I wanted to just put it in a 2810.5 class, a small tire class, you know, I could do that. You know, I don't know that I ever will. Like I said, it's not fast enough to beat anybody, but you know what? If I just get in there and play, I'll be the happiest last place guy there is in the track. And along with the new tires, I've got some wheel screws and the template, because I know these tires have slipped on the wheels a couple times. I've marked them and they've moved a little bit. So I want to go ahead and put some screws in there. And it's also, the screws are for safety, you know, if we were going to be going faster. Now, I'm not going fast enough to really worry about the tire spreading or stretching out and pulling off the wheel. I'm not going those speeds, and probably never will. But these will help keep the wheels from, or tires from spinning on the wheels. So that's a couple other things to be looking forward to on future episodes of Squarebody Stuff. So stay tuned. Remember, hit that join button down below. That'll help me out. You can become a member. Most of my videos I put out early, and members can see the videos before everybody else. And yeah, that's about all I got for you guys. I know it's been kind of a long video. We had the eclipse, we had this, that, and the other. I appreciate you guys watching. And yeah, I'm gonna sign off. Until next time, y'all keep your square bodies rolling. We'll catch you later.